like to welcome everybody to our podcast. We're heading into a pretty long season, and we're super excited. We just really enjoy doing the podcasting, and so we hope that you're enjoying it as well. And today we're going to talk about, we're still in our pillar of consistency, and consistency can be a hard step-by-step, this is how you do it pillar, but consistency truly is the key. So I think what I'd like to talk about today is dogs that truly have no desire to please and no desire to give back to the owner. And I have mixed feelings about this of, is it something that's genetically in them, or is it something that we inadvertently create in our dogs? And so, you know, obviously we need to create connection, and that's our first pillar. But as a dog trainer, the things that we have to go to shift that behavior is truly consistency in what our expectations are. And it can be very daunting and very difficult for a pet owner to make it happen on their own, because you're just kind of so at a loss, and you're emotional, and you just don't know what to do, and you're tired of the behaviors. So I'm going to have you guys give me a little take on just your overall feel of it, and then we're going to talk about one very specific dog and the case with that. So Melissa, what's your overall thoughts on dogs that just really don't care?
I don't know, I have a lot of thoughts on this. Like I get an opinion and I'm like, wait, but you know what could also be? So one, I think some dogs, some breeds are just more that way. Just naturally. You're not like so there's a distinction there, but I also think a lot of people demand their dogs to meet them, but they aren't willing to go meet them halfway. And I think that can close dogs off for a long period of time. Being like, okay, I'm going to do my own thing. It's the easy way. But dogs are also naturally, they want the easy way, so consistency will make it like, I don't necessarily want to please you, but it's easier to do it that way. So that's how you can kind of make them. And I think every dog somewhere has something that satisfies them or makes them, I guess, they feel gratified in a way. You just have to find what that is, which can be really hard because it could be just the teeniest little thing that we don't even think about. But I think, yeah, there's definitely dogs that are a lot harder, but there is always one way, and it might be pretty hard, but there's always one way that they can feel gratified.
Michelle?
I'm just trying to think of all the dogs that I feel this way about, and really what it is for each of them, and it's all, every one of them I feel like it's so different. It's really interesting, because you said that, like Melissa said, there are certain breeds that are like that, but I think most of the time those breeds are harder breeds to handle anyways, so most people know what they're getting, and that's what they're kind of looking for. I think it's harder when it's a breed that you expect to be connected, and they're not. Like, I think that's when it's really hard. I mean, I'll take June for an example. When she was with us, she was never connected to us, but she connected to other dogs like that, which I mean, with some dogs that is totally normal. Like a lot of hounds, like they were bred to hunt together, so they'll connect to another hound if they're in the house with them. June, it was really weird because most border collies I know are pretty connected to their people to work with their people. So she was definitely a special case. That's what I mean. I mean, we've met labs and some golden retrievers and stuff like that are extremely disconnected, and those are the ones that are puzzling. If you told me if the Senju was disconnected, I'd be like, yeah, that's who they are. Like, and most people that have those breeds know what they're getting themselves into. And they are looking for that because they want a more independent dog. So I'm assuming we're talking about the ones that are weird in this podcast today. And I really think I agree. I think there's some genetics to it, and I think there's some upbringing. I think with June, she connected with dogs because she was put out with dogs all the time. Like when she was little, at that like really vulnerable stage. I mean, I think she was always going to be a skittish dog, and that's really hard too. But some of them, I do think that it's just genetics.
Shannon?
I think we see a lot of dogs that are disconnected just because that this is what we do, right?
Yeah.
People have a hard time connecting with their dog. It makes their training difficult, and so they call us for help. And so then we have a lot of things that we can try, to be consistent and find what pleases them and find what they like and what their joy is to help bring that into their life so that their relationship can grow.
Yeah.
But when it's difficult, I think the most difficult is when you go into a home and they have like a tiny puppy and the tiny puppy doesn't care at all.
Yeah.
When you go in and you have a bigger dog, there's more like history and emotional baggage that goes with the story of that, where chinks along the way have caused a disconnection that you can repair. But then when it's like a little teeny puppy that's just like, I don't care, whatever, and then that's when you have to start thinking, oh my gosh, like, what do I do and why is this dog this way? Because that's really unusual,
Right.
to get a younger dog that's just right off. No, I'm not going to do that for you. I don't care if you have food. I don't care if you pet me. I don't like you.
Yeah.
And it's really, really hard for people because they want a puppy that loves them, and it starts them off upset that they made the wrong decision or that it's not working out how they thought it could be. And even though a lot of times we get called because of people, their life isn't how they imagined it would be with their dog, there's still happy, good things that go with it.
Right.
And when you have a dog that doesn't care about you at all, it's so much on the spectrum of yucky.
Yeah.
That the people have just a really hard time with it.
Yeah. We've had Addie, the lab, very much so initial concern about this dog. She's really, I'm just gonna go here and sleep in the hole, and I mean, whatever you guys are doing is fine, but I really don't care. And she's consistently, they picked her up at 8 weeks, I believe, 7, 8 weeks. And it's really been, Melissa, like, you work with her 99.9% of the day, and you have to find the things that she finds joy in that connects her back to you. And I think a lot of that is staying super consistent with the expectations, not necessarily caring about does the dog like me as much as here's the routine that we're doing, here's the consistency in what our activity is, so that you can at least have an obedient dog that it's kind of like being at a party that you don't really know everybody, but you know most, and everybody just kind of does their thing, but you're all doing it together kind of a thing. And that's how you have to look at the dogs, that when you have that kind of relationship where that's the dog and who they are. If it's truly not who they are, and it's been created because of things along the way, then we can definitely change it. But when you start with a puppy like that, you have to just accept that we're acquaintances, and that's the relationship that you have. You kind of have a couch surfer, if you will, in the house.
It's interesting as we were thinking about that, because we're talking about this pillar and stuff like that, how much more important it is for those dogs to be consistent.
Yeah.
And how much, I think it's more emotionally to the owner on like, oh, why doesn't this dog want to be with me?
Yeah.
But it's almost easier to be consistent with these dogs because the dogs
sure.
are most truly connected. It is really easy to let them slip and be like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
This time you can be on the couch.
Yeah.
Oh, this time, you're doing this cute thing.
Right.
So it's easier, I think, in this like particular pillar for those types of dogs to stay in that realm of being consistent.
Yeah.
But emotionally, it is the most draining part, because you don't have that connection piece of the and that's so hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard to create that. I mean, there are things that we can do to fix it, but not.
Right.
Connection's not there. It's not there, right?
Yeah, for sure. Did you have some?
Yeah, just thinking about Addie, I have loved, a lab, and she has a sister who is very lab. They both have their quirks, but she's very typical, you have food, I want to do this for you.
Yeah.
And I love their owner and talking to her. She just accepts how Addie is.
Yeah.
Going, oh, there she is being an independent Sally, you call her, just like, oh, she's just doing her own thing, okay. And working with those two, I always work with Lucy first.
Uh-huh.
And then Addie's like, wait, no, I don't want her to get attention. I want attention. She doesn't want to please me,
Yeah, yeah,
but she just doesn't want other dogs to please me.
right.
So I found that that's how I kind of manipulate her to do stuff for
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
But she also loves scent games.
Mhm.
So like doing scent work with her as a reward.
Mhm.
Because she doesn't, giving her treats, she's like, why'd you give me this?
Yeah, yeah.
But if she does a good job and I bring out like the stuffed pheasant, that
Mm-hmm.
she knows, oh, I'm gonna go in a down snake because I know she's gonna hide it.
Yeah,
I don't care about pleasing her, but she's gonna do something for me.
right, yeah,
So just kind of, and I know she doesn't love me.
yeah,
You know, like
Yeah.
I don't care
yeah,
because she's willing to work for me and
Yeah.
she comes and greets me every day
yeah,
because she knows I have something to offer her.
right, right.
And I don't think of it as like her being a gold digger
Yeah,
or something,
yeah,
you know. But
yeah.
I've figured out how to engage her in training,
Uh-huh,
which is huge because if you try to force her into it,
yeah,
she doesn't care.
yeah, yeah,
But heaven forbid you give another dog attention
Right.
because then she really does care.
yeah, yeah. So, I'm 48 hours into this dog for a board and train. It is a Portuguese water dog. He's he's a little over a year actually. And the owner has owned many in her lifetime, and this one, she feels like she has actually had more time now in her life than she ever has before to give to a dog, and she really has done everything that she knows how, but the dog's whole life, this whole year, has been really about the consistency of what the dog is doing, and she gives in. And so this dog, she's just to a point that she's like, I don't know what else to do. Will come when they're out on the trail, but as soon as it's time to go, there's no coming. Will not be in a crate, will not be in a crate. Hangs out, loves to snuggle, loves to, if you're not feeling well, he's right there. The walks are about him being on an easy walk harness and him doing his own thing on the walks, and then just completely losing it to go play with other dogs as soon as he sees other dogs. Has no connection back to the owner whatsoever. And so, but within the 48 hours that we have had him, he truly wants something, but he has learned that I'm not, I guess I shouldn't come up to you because it's not the expectation. And I do not want to come in the house and go into the crate. But I'm kind of liking you and I'd like to come up to you, but I can't. And so I picked him up Saturday morning. And as soon as I picked him up, I put him right into the crate, into my truck, and he stayed in the crate while we went up to Heber and did some traveling, and that was just where he was going to be. And then we got home, and he truly is the most demanding. I mean, he can slide that crate across the room. He can find every which way to not come in. He wants the attention when Nick is getting the attention, but he doesn't want the other dogs to have attention. It's not that he is wanting your attention, but I can see it in his eyes that he's like, I'm lost. I'm just lost because this is not who I am. And so I go out, I get the leash, I put the leash on him. He reluctantly comes in. As each time that he comes in, it's progressively gotten better that he's not looking to dart, but he will fight it. And you put his head in first and take his back end out of it and put him in his crate. And he stays quiet for the most part, but then he gets an opinion about something, and then all of a sudden it's like this crazy, I can't be in here, what am I doing? Whining, yipping, barking. But today, and today was the first time that last night he ate well. But this morning was the first time that he went in on his own with just a little pressure into the crate. And I just haven't changed. I have not changed what that routine is. And the owner was a little bit concerned about how long is he going to be in the crate, what's the size of the crate, he's not going to like it. And all of those are signs to me of a human-created disconnect with no consistency. So the dog has created its own consistency to find its own joy. So it's hard when a dog gets to that stage that I'm heaving you in, you're gonna get in that crate no matter what. I thought you were gonna say something.
I can't.
So it's been really important. I haven't done anything else with him other than you're outside and you go to your crate. The hard piece is consistently every time I go outside, you're coming into the crate. And so he starts anticipating stuff and he starts trying to manipulate some things and he tries to, well, if I can do this, then I don't. Or he'll come and he'll jump up on you and hit you so hard from behind that it completely catches you off guard. So he's a bully. He's rude. If you don't let him in when he thinks he needs to be let in, he's literally doing everything he can to destroy the door to get in. But the instant you open the door, he's not going in. So it's been super fascinating that I've just stayed super consistent, super calm, and setting the expectations, and that's one of the hardest things for people to understand is when you get a dog and it's to that level, it's some tough love to be consistent until you get the behavior, because once he gets it, then the privileges start coming of, well, you can come in and be on the bed now instead of in the crate. But it's so emotionally hard to disconnect from that, that when I picked up the dog, the owner said, well, good luck, I hope this works, because I'm tired of chasing him down when we're at the park with our friends, and they don't go to dog parks, it's just their friends will meet at the park and the dogs will play, or she goes out hiking. She doesn't live local, so there's a lot of outdoor stuff happening, and she lives on a big ranch, and it's just so frustrating to her that she cannot get this dog to respond to really anything. I mean, if he doesn't want to sit, he's not going to sit. And so we as dog trainers have to all of a sudden be the tough love and firm and consistent and really set up a really big structured plan for this dog that he knows nothing other than what's being asked of him. And you end up keeping them longer because you got to make sure that it's there before they go home. So I think disconnected dogs and being consistent, Michelle's really one of the keys to connecting with the dog, and it's a hard place to be.
So it's just really fascinating to me, my thought process and what's going on in my head right now.
Yeah.
I feel like we're seeing it more and more. Do you feel that way?
Mm-hmm.
Just in general, from even, and I mean, I have not been a dog trainer that long. It's been 6 years that I've been and actively being a dog trainer. So, where you've been doing it for what, 20 years, something like that. I just feel like from when I started with you till now, we're seeing it more. Do you feel that is breeders? Do you feel like, because most of this is coming from, I mean, we do have our few occasional dogs that are from the rescue world that are from the reserves and stuff like that, which those dogs, that makes sense to me, right? That's not a mystery to me.
Yeah.
But these ones that are coming from breeders, do you think it's breeders? Do you think it's, and I'm in no way, shape, or form trying to bash on anybody's training style, do you think it could possibly be positive reinforcement that's doing this? Because we're allowing the dog to get away with more stuff when they're younger, that they're learning that behavior. And us as a society as well is we really look down on people doing any kind of discipline to their dog. so dogs are just getting a what like I'm just trying to like figure it out in my head like
Yeah,
what,
I think
because the breeds that we're talking about right now should not be this way.
Right.
And I
Right.
had a 40 not that long ago that I've never seen a dog so disconnected from his people,
Yeah.
but his people were okay with it. So
Sure.
I think they created a lot of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they were a very busy family that they wanted him to hang out in the backyard and stuff like that. So he
Right.
just found something to do.
Yeah.
I'm really trying to figure out what it is that
I think in general, as a society as a whole, that we've gotten soft in not a good soft way.
That's what I'm asking. Like,
We're
if
so
are we not
quick to
communicating with
judge.
our dogs the way dogs communicate? We're trying to treat them like people, so
Yeah.
they're confused and like,
Yeah.
I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, and it's I think in general it's society. I think that as a whole, society is so quick to judge everybody, so then we become overly paranoid. So then therefore we have all positive reinforcement, and it's in the kids' world too. I mean, to me, I'm so floored at the amount of drugs and overdosing and just the garbage that's at Cheyenne School, that there's just no expectations, there's no consistency in humans as a whole, the way we live, that we're so quick to judge, but we don't want to look back at what's in our own house. And so then it obviously is going to be a reflection on how breeders will take care of the puppies, where they coddle and they sometimes overdo the love, where the puppies aren't allowed to be a dog and function in a pack type situation. They're micromanaging to make sure nothing happens and nothing's bad. And then the dogs finally go, you know what, I just need to go be a dog. And that's in some personalities, and you see it in people as well. So I think there's so many contributing factors to it that, it's a good chance that Miguel's breeder was so over the top that and then his owner, she's not over the top, she's just really truly wants the connection. And he's just like, yeah, I'm just not going to give it to you. But then what else do you do but to give in, because you don't know what else to do? So then it continues to foster that, where if you haven't really had to discipline a whole lot your other dogs, they've just connected and it's been this relationship, and then you're like, yeah, I don't know what to do. Society says we got to be soft, so we're just going to let it go. So I think there's so many facets into what's happening and why we're seeing it more. Jen?
Don't you think that just society as a whole has become more disconnected?
Oh,
People
yeah.
go to dinner and sit at a table, a dinner,
Yeah.
and all the people are on their phone.
Yeah.
And they don't talk to each other.
Yeah.
And the kids come home from school and they go on their iPads or on the
Yeah.
computer. So that is bringing just disconnection
Yeah.
into your home
Yeah.
overall.
Right.
And so then, since the dog's not getting information because everyone's disconnected,
Yeah.
because they're on their phones and their Kindles and their iPads and their
Right.
computers and their games and their whatever,
Yeah.
Netflix, that they are creating things for themselves.
Right.
They're like, well, I obviously have to be in charge of myself,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna make up these like things I have to do,
Right.
jobs
For
and,
sure.
and stuff. But
Yeah.
I think that's something just that people are struggling with now
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah.
That people are just disconnected from each other.
Right.
And how could you be disconnected to your dog if you can't be connected to your family,
Yeah.
the people that are sitting at the dinner table with you,
Right.
and you're just all on your phones, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree with that, as a whole. Melissa, do you have anything to say?
I think it's fascinating, kind of just dog culture now, and how, one, there's no consistency and you don't want to hurt your dog's feelings. Like, I get that so often from clients. I don't want to hurt their feelings. What?
Yeah.
And also, when I ask people, how do you play with your dog? Oh, we take them to the dog park. You're not playing with your dog. You're sending your dog away.
Yeah.
Or, oh, I give so much to my dog. I take him to dog daycare every day. Okay, so you're sending your dog away, and that's how people feel that connection. I'm going to send my dog away. What message does that send your dog?
Yeah.
It's like if I was like, hey guys, do you guys want to go hang out? I'm going to have you guys
Right.
go.
You go bowling, I'm gonna go
Yeah.
over there and do something.
I'll watch.
Yeah,
That's not connection.
yeah.
And consistency requires sacrifice on our part. And that's what's the missing piece, is that we as humans need to sacrifice for our dogs.
Yeah.
We're not their owners. We're not these almighty beings.
Yeah.
We bought them,
Yeah.
but we are in a partnership.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're holding up our end of the deal. So the dogs are like, why am I gonna hold up mine?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I think just overall in general, because of the way we've kind of functioned in these 4 pillars for a long time and not necessarily have defined what it is, but we can't have a dog and a partnership and a relationship and without every piece of these pillars to stand and be and create this whole routine of this animal and appreciating the animal for the animal and not getting so involved. It's our responsibility. We owe it to our dogs to be consistent. We owe it to them to give direction. We owe it to them to give discipline. We owe it to them to set expectations. We owe it to them to provide food and joy and play, but we also owe it to them to give them permission to be a dog. And I think that's, as a society as a whole, it's going away, which is really unfortunate. And eventually the dog's evolution will catch up to that. And then I wonder if we're just going to coexist with our dogs instead of having a relationship and a partnership with them. And that may be because we all coexist, and it's moving more and more in that direction because we're so disconnected that we just coexist. The life is in the cyber world and not connected into what's real. So no matter what, if you feel like your dog is not listening to you, but you feel like they understand what's being taught, you need to look into your own backyard, you need to look into your house, and you need to find a routine and be consistent with your dog because they're asking you for that. They're dying to have some routine of the expectations of, oh, okay, we come in and we get into our crate. Man, that's just a happy place to be. So, put the phones down, put life on hold and find consistency in the inconsistencies of the world. And consistency will help you start correcting or disciplining your dog. We're still around. Yeah.
It kind of went from being just like haha to something kind of deep.
I know.
I was like, wait a minute, what happened here?
This dog he's a fucker.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah. And the lady is so nice and just simple. Just more at a loss of what to do.
Yeah.
But more than anything, I think it's just his strong personality, and she's not strong at all. And yeah, he's charming, to say the least. So it is.
I have yet to find a pony that I really like.
I mean, he turned around to try and bite. He like hit Chris so hard, and Chris, just went after him. So then Chris came back out, and Chris just waiting for him to hit, and so Chris went down to pet him, and he went to bite him. Like, not like, don't do that, like full on, I'm gonna bite you. He's just a bully. He's just so rude.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it was a takedown, and then, everything about it is just so, you have to be so deliberate with him and so mean about it because you have to meet that energy.
That's exhausting.
Yeah. So, and to get him into the crate, you're like humping the crate to like squish him in as you get the, you're grabbing skin and hair and chucking him in and slamming the door as he's turning around and coming out fast and pissing all over the place.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the bastard. Yucky dog. But I'm gonna break through because I'm just ready for it. All right, guys, come over here. welcome everybody to our podcast. We're heading into a pretty long season and we're super excited. We just really enjoy doing the podcasting, and so we hope that you're enjoying it as well. And today we're going to talk about, we're still in our pillar of consistency, and consistency can be a hard step-by-step, this is how you do it pillar, but consistency truly is the key. So I think what I'd like to talk about today is dogs that truly have no desire to please and no desire to give back to the owner. And I have mixed feelings about this of, is it something that's genetically in them, or is it something that we inadvertently create in our dogs? And so, you know, obviously we need to create connection, and that's our first pillar. But as a dog trainer, the things that we have to go to shift that behavior is truly consistency in what our expectations are. And it can be very daunting and very difficult for a pet owner to make it happen on their own, because you're just kind of so at a loss, and you're emotional, and you just don't know what to do, and you're tired of the behaviors. So I'm going to have you guys give me a little take on just your overall feel of it, and then we're going to talk about one very specific dog and the case with that. So Melissa, what's your overall thoughts on dogs that just really don't care?
I don't know, I have a lot of thoughts on this. Like I get an opinion and I'm like, wait, but no, it could also be. So one, I think some dogs, some breeds are just more that way. Just naturally, you're not like, so there's a distinction there. But I also think a lot of people demand their dogs to meet them, but they aren't willing to go meet them halfway. And I think that can close dogs off for a long period of time. Being like, okay, I'm going to do my own thing. It's the easy way. But dogs are also naturally, they want the easy way, so consistency will make it like, I don't necessarily want to please you, but it's easier to do it that way. So that's how you can kind of make them. And I think every dog somewhere has something that satisfies them or makes them, I guess, they feel gratified in a way. You just have to find what that is, which can be really hard because it could be just the teeniest little thing that we don't even think about. But I think, yeah, there's definitely dogs that are a lot harder, but there is always one way, and it might be pretty hard, but there's always one way that they can feel gratified.
Michelle?
I'm just trying to think of all the dogs that I feel this way about, and really what it is for each of them, and it's all, every one of them I feel like it's so different. It's really interesting, because you said that, like Melissa said, there are certain breeds that are like that, but I think most of the time those breeds are harder breeds to handle anyway, so most people know what they're getting, and that's what they're kind of looking for. I think it's harder when it's a breed that you expect to be connected, and they're not. Like, I think that's when it's really hard. I mean, I'll take June for an example. When she was with us, she was never connected to us, but she connected to other dogs like that, which I mean, with some dogs that is totally normal. Like a lot of hounds, like they were bred to hunt together, so they'll connect to another hound if they're in the house with them. June, it was really weird because most border collies I know are pretty connected to their people to work with their people. So she was definitely a special case. That's what I mean. I mean, we've met labs and some golden retrievers and stuff like that are extremely disconnected, and those are the ones that are puzzling. If you told me if Basenji was disconnected, I'd be like, yeah, that's who they are. Like, and most people that have those breeds know what they're getting themselves into. And they are looking for that because they want a more independent dog. So I'm assuming we're talking about the ones that are weird in this podcast today. And I really think I agree. I think there's some genetics to it, and I think there's some upbringing. I think with June, she connected with dogs because she was put out with dogs all the time. Like when she was little, at that like really vulnerable stage. I mean, I think she was always going to be a skittish dog, and that's really hard too. But some of them, I do think that it's just genetics.
Shannon?
I think we see a lot of dogs that are disconnected just because that this is what we do, right?
Yeah.
People have a hard time connecting with their dog. It makes their training difficult, and so they call us for help. And so then we have a lot of things that we can try, to be consistent and find
Yeah.
what pleases them and find what they like and what their joy is to help bring that into their life so that their relationship can grow.
Yeah.
But when it's difficult, I think the most difficult is when you go into a home and they have like a tiny puppy and the tiny puppy doesn't
Yeah.
care at all.
Yeah.
When you go in and you have a bigger dog, there's more like history and emotional baggage that goes with the story of that, where chinks along the way have caused a disconnection
Yeah.
that you can repair. But then when it's like a little teeny puppy that's just like, I don't care, whatever, and then that's when you have to start thinking, oh my gosh, like, what do I do and why is this dog this way? Because that's really unusual,
Right.
to get a younger dog that's just right off. No,
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that for you. I don't care if you have food. I don't care if you pet me. I don't like you.
Yeah.
And it's really, really hard for people because they want a puppy that loves them,
Mhm.
and it starts them off upset that they made the wrong decision or that it's not working out how they thought it could be. And even though a lot of times we get called because of people, their life isn't how they imagined it would be with their dog, there's still happy, good things that
Right.
go with it.
Right.
And when you have a dog that doesn't care about you at all, it's so much on the spectrum of yucky.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that the people have just a really hard time
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah. We've had Addie, the lab, very much so initial concern about this dog. She's really, I'm just gonna go over here and sleep in the hole, and I mean, whatever you guys are doing is fine, but I really don't care. And she's consistently, they picked her up at 8 weeks, I believe, 7, 8 weeks. And it's really been, Melissa, like, you work with her 99.9% of the day, and you have to find the things that she finds joy in that connects her back to you. And I think a lot of that is staying super consistent with the expectations, not necessarily caring about does the dog like me as much as here's the routine that we're doing, here's the consistency in what our activity is, so that you can at least have an obedient dog that it's kind of like being at a party that you don't really know everybody, but you know most, and everybody just kind of does their thing, but you're all doing it together, kind of a thing. And that's how you have to look at the dogs, that when you have that kind of relationship where that's the dog and who they are. If it's truly not who they are and it's been created because of things along the way, then we can definitely change it. But when you start with a puppy like that, you have to just accept that we're acquaintances, and that's the relationship that you have. You kind of have a couch surfer, if you will, in the house.
It's interesting as we were thinking about that, because we're talking about this pillar and stuff like that, how much more important it is for those dogs to be consistent.
Yeah.
And how much, I think it's more emotionally to the owner on like, oh, why doesn't this dog want to be with me?
Yeah.
But it's almost easier to be consistent with these dogs because
Oh,
the dogs
for
are most truly connected. It is really easy to let them slip and be like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
This time you can be on the couch.
Yeah.
Oh, this time, you're doing this cute thing.
Right.
So it's easier, I think, in this like particular pillar for those types of dogs to stay in that realm of being consistent.
Yeah.
But emotionally, it is the most draining part,
Yeah.
because you don't have that connection piece of and that's so hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard to create that. There are things that we can do to fix it, but not.
Right.
Connection's not there. It's not there, right?
Yeah, for sure. Did you have something?
Yeah, just thinking about Addie, I have loved, so a lab, and she has a sister who is very lab.
Mm-hmm.
They both have their quirks, but she's very typical, I want to please you, you have food, I want to do this for you.
Yeah.
And I love their owner and talking to her. She just accepts how Addie is.
Yeah.
Going, oh, there she is being an independent Sally. She'll call her, just like, oh, she's just doing her own thing, okay. And working with those two, I always work with Lucy first.
Uh-huh.
And then Addie's like, wait, no, I don't want her to get attention. I want attention. She doesn't want to please me,
Yeah, yeah,
but she just doesn't want other dogs to please me.
right.
So I found that that's how I could manipulate her to do stuff for
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
But she also loves scent games.
Mhm.
So like doing scent work with her as a reward.
Mhm.
Because she doesn't, giving her treats, she's like, why'd you give me this?
Yeah, yeah.
But if she does a good job and I bring out like the stuffed pheasant, that
Mm-hmm.
she knows, oh, I'm gonna go in a down snake because I know she's gonna hide it.
Yeah,
I don't care about pleasing her, but she's gonna do something for me.
right, yeah,
So just kind of, and I know she doesn't love me.
yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
I don't care
Yeah,
because she's willing to work for me and she
Yeah.
comes and greets me every day
yeah,
because she knows I have something to offer her.
right, right.
And I don't think of it as like her being a gold digger
Yeah,
or something,
yeah,
you know. But
yeah.
I've figured out how to engage her in training,
Uh-huh,
which is huge because if you try to force her into it,
yeah,
she doesn't care.
yeah, yeah,
But heaven forbid you give another dog attention
Right.
because then she really does care.
yeah, yeah. So, I'm 48 hours into this dog for a board and train. It is a Portuguese water dog. He's he's a little over a year actually. And the owner has owned many in her lifetime, and this one, she feels like she has actually had more time now in her life than she ever has before to give to a dog, and she really has done everything that she knows how, but the dog's whole life, this whole year, has been really about the consistency of what the dog is doing, and she gives in. And so this dog, she's just to a point that she's like, I don't know what else to do. Will come when they're out on the trail, but as soon as it's time to go, there's no coming. Will not be in a crate, will not be in a crate. Hangs out, loves to snuggle, loves to, if you're not feeling well, he's right there. The walks are about him being on an easy walk harness and him doing his own thing on the walks, and then just completely losing it to go play with other dogs as soon as he sees other dogs. Has no connection back to the owner whatsoever. And so, but within the 48 hours that we have had him, he truly wants something, but he has learned that I'm not, I guess I shouldn't come up to you because it's not the expectation. And I do not want to come in the house and go into the crate. But I'm kind of liking you and I'd like to come up to you, but I can't. And so I picked him up Saturday morning. And as soon as I picked him up, I put him right into the crate, into my truck, and he stayed in the crate while we went out to Heber and did some traveling, and that was just where he was going to be. And then we got home, and he truly is the most demanding. I mean, he can slide that crate across the room. He can find every which way to not come in. He wants the attention when Mick is getting the attention, but he doesn't want the other dogs to have attention. It's not that he is wanting your attention, but I can see it in his eyes that he's like, I'm lost. I'm just lost because this is not who I am. And so I go out, I get the leash, I put the leash on him. He reluctantly comes in. As each time that he comes in, it's progressively gotten better that he's not looking to dart, but he will fight it. And you put his head in first and take his back end out of it and put him in his crate. And he stays quiet for the most part, but then he gets an opinion about something, and then all of a sudden it's like this crazy, I can't be in here, what am I doing? Whining, yipping, barking. But today, and today was the first time that last night he ate well. But this morning was the first time that he went in on his own with just a little pressure into the crate. And I just haven't changed. I have not changed what that routine is. And the owner was a little bit concerned about how long is he going to be in the crate, what's the size of the crate, he's not going to like it. And all of those are signs to me of a human-created disconnect with no consistency. So the dog has created its own consistency to find its own joy. So it's hard when a dog gets to that stage that it's, I'm heaving you in, you're gonna get in that crate no matter what. I thought you were gonna say something.
I can't.
So it's been really important. I haven't done anything else with him other than you're outside and you go to your crate. The hard piece is consistently every time I go outside, you're coming into the crate. And so he starts anticipating stuff and he starts trying to manipulate some things and he tries to, well, if I can do this, then I don't. Or he'll come and he'll jump up on you and hit you so hard from behind that it completely catches you off guard. So he's a bully. He's rude. If you don't let him in when he thinks he needs to be let in, he's literally doing everything he can to destroy the door to get in. But the instant you open the door, he's not coming in. So it's been super fascinating that I've just stayed super consistent, super calm, and setting the expectations, and that's one of the hardest things for people to understand is when you get a dog and it's to that level, it's some tough love to be consistent until you get the behavior, because once he gets it, then the privileges start coming of, well, you can come in and be on the bed now instead of in the crate. But it's so emotionally hard to disconnect from that, that when I picked up the dog, the owner said, well, good luck, I hope this works, because I'm tired of chasing him down when we're at the park with our friends, and they don't go to dog parks, it's just their friends will meet at the park and the dogs will play, or she goes out hiking. She doesn't live local, so there's a lot of outdoor stuff happening, and she lives on a big ranch, and it's just so frustrating to her that she cannot get this dog to respond to really anything. I mean, if he doesn't want to sit, he's not going to sit. And so we as dog trainers have to all of a sudden be the tough love and firm and consistent and really set up a really big structured plan for this dog that he knows nothing other than what's being asked of him. And you end up keeping them longer because you got to make sure that it's there before they go home. So I think disconnected dogs and being consistent, Michelle's really one of the keys to connecting with the dog, and it's a hard place to be.
So it's just really fascinating to me, my thought process and what's going on in my head right now. I feel like we're seeing it more and more. Do you feel that way?
Mm-hmm.
Just in general, from even, and I mean, I have not been a dog trainer that long. It's been 6 years that I've been and actively being a dog trainer. So, where you've been doing it for 20 years, something like that. I just feel like from when I started with you till now, we're seeing it more. Do you feel that is breeders? Do you feel like, because most of this is coming from, I mean, we do have our few occasional dogs that are from the rescue world that are from the reserves and stuff like that, which those dogs, that makes sense to me, right? That's not a mystery to me.
Yeah.
But these ones that are coming from breeders, do you think it's breeders? Do you think it's, and I'm in no way, shape, or form trying to bash on anybody's training style, do you think it could possibly be positive reinforcement that's doing this? Because we're allowing the dog to get away with more stuff when they're younger, that they're learning that behavior. And us as a society as well is we really look down on people doing any kind of discipline to their dog. so dogs are just getting away. I'm just trying to like figure it out in my head. Like,
Yeah,
what?
I think
because the breeds that we're talking about right now should not be this way.
Right.
And I
Right.
had a 40 not that long ago that I've never seen a dog so disconnected from his people, but his people were okay with it. So
Sure.
I think they created a lot of that.
Yeah.
Because they were a very busy family that they wanted him to hang out in the backyard and stuff like that. So he
Right.
just found something to do.
Yeah.
I'm really trying to figure out what it is that
I think in general, as a society as a whole, that we've gotten soft in not a good soft way.
That's what I'm asking. Like,
We're
if
so
are we not
quick to
communicating with
judge.
our dogs the way dogs communicate? We're trying to treat them like people, so
Yeah.
they're confused and like,
Yeah.
I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, and it's I think in general it's society. I think that as a whole, society is so quick to judge everybody, so then we become overly paranoid. So then therefore we have all positive reinforcement, and it's in the kids' world too. I mean, to me, I'm so floored at the amount of drugs and overdosing and just the garbage that's at Cheyenne School, that there's just no expectations, there's no consistency in humans as a whole, the way we live, that we're so quick to judge, but we don't want to look back at what's in our own house. And so then it obviously is going to be a reflection on how breeders will take care of the puppies, where they coddle and they sometimes overdo the love, where the puppies aren't allowed to be a dog and function in a pack type situation. They're micromanaging to make sure nothing happens and nothing's bad. And then the dogs finally go, you know what, I just need to go be a dog. And that's in some personalities, and you see in people as well. So I think there's so many contributing factors to it that, it's a good chance that Miguel's breeder was so over the top that and then his owner, she's not over the top, she's just really truly wants the connection. And he's just like, yeah, I'm just not going to give it to you. But then what else do you do but to give in, because you don't know what else to do? So then it continues to foster that, where if you haven't really had to discipline a whole lot your other dogs, they've just connected and it's been this relationship, and then you're like, yeah, I don't know what to do. Society says we got to be soft, so we're just going to let it go. So I think there's so many facets into what's happening and why we're seeing it more. Shannon?
Don't you think that just society as a whole has become more disconnected?
Oh,
People
yeah.
go to dinner and sit at a table, a dinner,
Yeah.
and all the people are on their phone.
Yeah.
And they don't talk to each other.
Yeah.
And the kids come home from school and they go on their iPads or on the
Yeah.
computer. So that is bringing just disconnection
Yeah.
into your home
Yeah.
overall.
Right.
And so then, since the dog's not getting information because everyone's disconnected,
Yeah.
because they're on their phones and their Kindles and their iPads and their
Right.
computers and their games and their whatever,
Yeah.
Netflix, that they are creating things for themselves.
Right.
They're like, well, I obviously have to be in charge of myself,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna make up these like things I have to do,
Right.
jobs
For
and,
sure.
and stuff. But
Yeah.
I think that's something just that people are struggling with now
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah.
That people are just disconnected from each other.
Right.
And how could you be disconnected to your dog if you can't be connected to your family,
Yeah.
the people that are sitting at the dinner table with you,
Right.
and you're just all on your phones, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree with that, as a whole. Melissa, do you have anything to say?
I think it's fascinating, kind of just dog culture now, and how when there's no consistency and you don't want to hurt your dog's feelings. Like, I get that so often from clients. I don't want to hurt their feelings. What?
Yeah.
And also, when I ask people, how do you play with your dog? Oh, we take them to the dog park. You're not playing with your dog. You're sending your dog away.
Yeah.
Or, oh, I give so much to my dog. I take him to dog daycare every day. Okay, so you're sending your dog away, and that's how people feel that connection. I'm going to send my dog away. What message does that send your dog?
Yeah.
It's like if I was like, hey guys, do you guys want to go hang out? I'm going to have you guys
Right.
go.
You go bowling, I'm gonna go
Yeah.
over there and do something.
I'll watch.
Yeah.
That's not connection.
Yeah.
And consistency requires sacrifice on our part. And that's what's the missing piece, is that we as humans need to sacrifice for our dogs.
Yeah.
We're not their owners. We're not these almighty beings.
Yeah.
We bought them,
Yeah.
but we are in a partnership.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're holding up our end of the deal. So the dogs are like, why am I gonna hold up mine?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I think just overall in general, because of the way we've kind of functioned in these 4 pillars for a long time and not necessarily have defined what it is, but we can't have a dog and a partnership and a relationship and without every piece of these pillars to stand and be and create this whole routine of this animal and appreciating the animal for the animal and not getting so involved. It's our responsibility. We owe it to our dogs to be consistent. We owe it to them to give direction. We owe it to them to give discipline. We owe it to them to set expectations. We owe it to them to provide food and joy and play, but we also owe it to them to give them permission to be a dog. And I think that's, as a society as a whole, it's going away, which is really unfortunate. And eventually the dog's evolution will catch up to that. And then I wonder if we're just going to coexist with our dogs instead of having a relationship and a partnership with them. And that may be because we all coexist, and it's moving more and more in that direction because we're so disconnected that we just coexist. The life is in the cyber world and not connected into what's real. So no matter what, if you feel like your dog is not listening to you, but you feel like they understand what's being taught, you need to look into your own backyard, you need to look into your house, and you need to find a routine and be consistent with your dog because they're asking you for that. They're dying to have some routine of the expectations of, oh, okay, we come in and we get into our drink. Man, that's just a happy place to be. So, put the phones down, put life on hold and find consistency in the inconsistencies of the world. And consistency will help you start correcting or disciplining your dog.